So if your windshield wipers are moving slow like this, especially when it's on fast speed, chances are the mechanism that makes all this stuff run is seized. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to diagnose the problem and how to fix it, even if the whole mechanism is broken. Now, if you can catch this problem earlier and the mechanism doesn't break, it's going to be a lot easier fix. Take a look at the mechanism. Watch how it struggles. The next video is a mechanism the way it's supposed to be. If it's not looking like this, let's lubricate it and fix it before it does break. With the mechanism out, you can barely turn it with your hand. In fact, you might not even be able to turn it with your hand. Look how hard it is, even with a pipe wrench on it. If you let the problem continue, it'll break, or the motor will burn out. You don't want that. Well, I'll show you how to take this mechanism off. First, remove the black caps. Then with a 16mm wrench, go ahead and unspin them. Here's one of the tricky parts. If you hold them in the middle and you shake them, they may come right off. Sometimes I have to use this gear puller to get them off. Now, once they're off, we'll go ahead and take this plastic piece out. So just take your time and work it out, and it'll come right out of there. In this car, if we take the top of the computer case off, then we'll be able to just get the mechanism out. Now, it's going to be a little tight, but if you take your time, you'll be able to get it out. Just don't press too hard onto the windshield. You don't want to break the windshield. We're going to take these 3 bolts out, and they're really not that hard to get to. So with a 10mm socket, go ahead and pull them out. Like I said, the first 2 aren't too bad, but if you use a swivel socket on the last one, you'll be able to get it no problem. So now just pull the entire mechanism forward a little bit. Now, I can't stress it enough, don't break the windshield. I'm going to take a pickling fork and just pop these arms off. It's important for them to be off so you can have enough space to get this mechanism out. And you can just tighten it back together when you reinstall it. Just take your time. It will come out. Just try lots of different combinations. It is important, however, to disconnect those 2 arms, and you can kind of flex those arms in and out a little bit too to get that right combination. It is possible to pull the computer forward a little bit, but that's a lot of work too. Well, finally, you just snap it up, and kind of made it look a little easy there, but you'll get it. So now just turn it upside down and take the power plug off. Now it's time to pull it out of the car and either get a new one or service it. If you're going to service it, I'll show you how to do it. First, we need to take the C-clip off and then put some oil in. Now, it is a lot of work to get this thing off. Even with a pipe wrench, you can see how tight it is, and I move it back and forth, and I work it until it finally comes off. Now, if you're going to tap it, be careful. I usually don't hit the threads that often. If you hit them too hard, you may have to use a tap and die to clean those threads up at the end. Now you can see why your wipers were so slow. The other side is in good shape. Now, it's not uncommon to have them both seize up, but you want to clean them both out and get new grease in both of them. Now that it's moving again, we'll take off the washer. There's actually supposed to be an O-ring there. Then at the bottom, another O-ring, which is broken, and then 2 more spring clips. We're going to take a file and go ahead and get all that roughness out. You can see how pitted it is, so take your time and make sure that both ends, all the bushings, all the bearings are completely free of grease and spin nice and smooth when you're done. Now this is starting to fit a lot better. Now if you did break this part like this, I'm going to show you how you can fix this. Now if it is broken, you may decide just to get another one, but for 80 bucks, this will work too. The metal is pretty soft on these arms, and that's why it broke in the first place. So I just drill out the other side a little bit bigger, and I'm going to take this bolt and just take it on the wheel and grind off the head so I can make a stud out of it. I've also cut it off with a hacksaw. It's whatever's handy. So we'll take a tap to this side, and the other hole is going to be a little bigger so we can epoxy it in. Just remember, when you screw it in, don't screw it in too far or it won't pivot. And because we drilled the other side a little bigger, it'll slide on. So clean it up with some rubbing alcohol or some other cleaner to make sure the epoxy is going to grab. Now that the structural pin is all ready to go, mix up some epoxy and we'll put it together. Here I'm using JB Weld. It takes a little longer to set. You may want to stick your finger in just to make sure you're not going too far. I do prefer the JB Weld over the 5-minute epoxy, but I have had the 5-minute epoxy work without any problems. Now the JB Weld will take about 16 hours, so you just want to leave it overnight. And if you can stand it, leave it a whole day and it'll cure and it'll be a little more rigid than the regular 5-minute epoxy. A little electric tape keeps the glue in while it sets. Once everything's all together, go ahead and try it without installing it just to make sure everything's working perfectly. Then put it all back together and you're done, ready for the rain. I hope you found the video useful, and if you did, please give the video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it.